That's when you done fucked up. That's when you lose the fight. It's all a mental game, dude. And most
Exactly.
yeah. I'm just gonna eat chips. Don't mind me. You fucking piece of shit, dude.
No, bro, they're Cheerios, alright? This shit, like, helps with your cholesterol, so go fuck yourself.
No, dude. I'd rather you have a heart attack than interrupt the pristine audio quality of this podcast, dude.
I'm so sorry. I brought shame upon my family.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 71 of the Thought Patrol podcast. I am joined by Tyler and Shawn. How y'all doing? How's everything going?
Pretty good.
I'm so good. I am so incredibly good.
I'm glad. It was quite a bitch to get this episode even off the ground today, but we're here. That's all that matters. You guys are here, and we're going to have a good episode, hopefully. So, I don't have any paper in case I need to mark down stuff, but that'll be fine. First things first, we're going to get into everybody's weeks. See what you guys have been playing, not playing, doing in your lives. But we're going to go ahead and start with Tyler. How's it been, dude? It hasn't been too long, but how have you been?
It hasn't been too long. No, it's I've been good. It's been a not a really productive week. I went to just see my fiance. She managed to come back. She survived Venezuela for 2 months, so I was actually, I was down south. Fortunately, I wasn't able to see you, but next time around, I'll have time. I literally was just with her the whole time, so it was cool kind of catching up with her and everything and whatnot. But other than that, I haven't, because the last time I was on the podcast, I was gone. I was up in Ocala for a week, and then I went back. I did one shift, and then I did this. So I was gone I haven't done anything really. It's been a really weird. I feel like I've been on this weird vacation that I haven't really done much on. This has been kind of just relaxing and chilling pretty much. So, I mean, I haven't played any video games. I haven't had the chance to. I did go see, I think I said I saw Venom. I don't remember if I said that last time.
No,
but
I
I
don't
did go
think you
see
did.
the new, okay, so I saw Venom. It was good. I think it was, okay, so in no means was it a perfect movie or even a really good, superhero film. He's not a superhero, but it wasn't an amazing comic film. It was a great introduction with some issues here and there, but I think I can get past those because I think they can really build upon the story and Venom as a character too. I love Tom Hardy. I love him as an actor first off, so I was really excited to see how he was going to portray Eddie Brock. I think he did a good job, but it was kind of weird seeing his character, just knowing him in the comics being the more of the asshole stuff. He was the bully and whatnot. But I think he portrayed Eddie Brock pretty good, I guess, for whatever they're trying to go for. The fight scenes were cool. Some people complained that it was too dark during the scenes. It's it makes CG easier to use, I guess, or it's just easier on the eyes. But I never had an issue with that. I thought it was cool for what they showed, and I know they'll definitely build off of it, in the sequels to come. I also wanted to go see Halloween, the new Halloween movie, 2018 with John Carpenter. Coming back producing, and Jamie Lee Curtis reprises her role as Laurie Strode, and it literally, as most sequels are nowadays, everything is just 10 times the gore and the sex and everything, and the violence and excessive language and stuff. This really kept it to a. It felt like if Halloween was never made back in 1978 and none of the sequels were made, and this is Halloween coming out for the first time, this was the perfect movie. It was, I loved it. I was actually going in thinking it wasn't going to be that good at all. It was just going to be cool seeing Michael back on the silver screen, killing people here and there in any way possible. Which, by no means, I don't have issues with what I said, the excessive gore and stuff like that. I love seeing all that stuff. But I also like it when they have a good story with it too, and they implement these like growth in characters, and actually, it gets from point A to point B. It kind of tells you what's going on rather than just slasher and blah blah blah. I've had enough of those sequels. So it was really cool seeing how they did this movie. The score was awesome. I was just glued. My eyes were glued to the screen the whole time. Amazing movie. There was only a few issues I had, but of course, it's a horror movie, so nothing is always perfect. You're always kind of like, oh, well, why they do that? But I would recommend to go see it, especially if you love horror movies, if you love just like one of the original slasher movies and stuff, and if you love Michael Myers, he's awesome in this. Yeah, that's about it though. Other than that, I mean, it's been pretty chill.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Shawn, how about you, man? How have you been?
Yeah, buddy.
I know we talk to each other every other fucking day, but every day actually we're in each other's pants all the time. But how you been, dude? How you been?
I got Soul Calibur. It's awesome. I like it a lot. They've incorporated some modern tropes from fighting games that I'm not too fond of. Some cheapy bullshits like charge meters and crap that I'm not terribly thrilled about, because I liked this system before that was based on chaining moves and strategically using moves depending on what your opponent was doing and so on. And that system is still there, but now there's all these kind of easy things that you can do that I don't know. It's a little, I guess they're trying to pull in a new audience, so they've incorporated some user-friendly, I don't know, casual type stuff into it, which again, kind of like with Mega Man, I'm not the fondest of those mechanics, but that's fine. It's still Soul Calibur, and it's still awesome. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you're a little lower than the rest of us, but I can hear you.
It's not too bad. I'm pretty good.
And so I've been doing that. I've been playing that Curse of the Moon thing, or whatever the fuck it's called, the blood-stained 8-bit style game more, and I've enjoyed the hell out of that. I've gone to Halloween Horror Nights twice now, and that was fun. I went once with the Thought Patrol crew, part of it, and then the second time I went with two of my friends, and we had a good time. Fucked up my ankle in front of some chicks, but that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Well,
there was there's this 4-foot wall that I jumped down off of, and it would have been awesome. Except at the same time that I did that, a scare actor terrified one of these girls in this group of girls, and when she freaked out, she kicked a rock, or it shot out of her nose. I don't know where the fuck it came from, because I haven't seen rocks at Universal, but there was a rock that rolled right under my foot as I landed. So instead of my foot landing flat, it landed at a sideways angle, and I just crumpled like a fucking stack of cards, which was super awesome.
Fucking rip.
Yeah, so but I've been doing some Soul Calibur and putting in job apps, and that's all I got, man.
Nice.
How about you, Kyle?
I've been good, guys. I've been good. Miss y'all, as always. Everyone tuning in. You guys with me here tonight. It's always nice to have this to come to every Sunday. I'm in the same boat as Shawn. Ever since I was laid off, I've been looking for another job. Been working on that. Video game wise, I've just been fucking bulldozing away at Final Fantasy 14, trying to get to some kind of semblance of endgame. So we're leveling, going through the story. So far, I really enjoy the areas. I really like the Far East. It's very like ancient Japanese inspired kind of thing, and it just looks gorgeous. The game's super pretty, and I just love the look of the world design, the areas, the armors that I'm getting now that I'm leveling up. Looks super cool. Me and Shawn did a little bit of the Halloween event, which was quite fun. What is it called? All Saints Wake, which is something that they do every year. And from what I understand, the event doesn't really change too much. The thing that does change is the rewards, depending on the year. And it's just kind of a fun thing you can do with some friends. You group up and you could either go in with 1, 2, or 3 friends, or you can match the rest of your group. You always have 4. And you go into one of the mansion dungeons in the game that has been basically redid to look like a haunted house. So it's pretty cool. You have like a little like imp that welcomes you. He's like, welcome to my mansion, and here's some shit you got to do, and we'll give you some cookies. And then these cookies you could turn into a vendor to get items like stuff for for the player housing. They have every event they do like these little like cracker things that you can consume it, and it's a one-use thing, and it gives you an effect. And it's just like something, if you have extra currency laying around and you've already gotten all the stuff, you could spend it on that. And you have like little cool things that you can pop if you're playing with others or something to show, oh, hey, like I have this cracker from like 6 events ago and it's got a cool effect and shit like that. I love Halloween and I love Christmas. So seeing the decorations and the festivities and everyone kind of participating, kind of in that MMO feel you get where you got a bunch of people all doing one thing. The area's crowded. It's just kind of fun to see people hanging out and either like groups of people like doing a flash mob and dancing or shit like that, or running through the dungeon with randos and everyone trying to work together to get the cookies and complete the event. It's just fun. I was having fun. I was enjoying it. And I've just been kind of leveling my character, trying to get more armor, and again, get to a semblance of endgame. But I've been really enjoying it. I'm trying to get to a point where our friend Hector, who played before, he kind of got ahead of everybody, and then he just stopped playing. And I'm trying to get him back into the game, but he said he's not going to resub until everyone gets, or at least someone gets to a point where he's at. And the problem with that is we got Red Dead coming out in a few days, and then no one's going to want to play. Although I'll probably still be doing the dailies at the very least. But I'm enjoying the game a lot. It's my favorite MMO I've played so far. It's very fun. I like that it allows me to play with Shawn too because of the crossplay. So we're all able to kind of just hang out together. If you do play Final Fantasy XIV, you're tuning in, feel free to hit us up. Again, we have our Discord below. If you want to talk to any of the hosts, you could do it that way. And I'd love to do some dungeons with you, play some games with you. Right now, I'm level, I think my Arcanist is 65, but at this point, it doesn't really matter. It's your gear score. My gear score is like 260. I'm slowly getting gear from progressing the main story. Right now, I'm just looking to see how they do endgame gear. I'm not too sure, because I know they added the vendor in Ishgard that sells high-level gear to kind of, if you haven't gotten into endgame stuff, you could still get the gear to make you somewhat competent when it comes to higher-level dungeoning and stuff. But I'm wondering if they have another vendor like that, if you have to do stuff through the tombstones, which are like currency you get by doing dailies or doing the duty roulette. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I was Googling, looking around to see where those vendors might be and how you basically do all that and how you work about getting level 70 loot. They might not add a merchant like that until after they introduce a new expansion, which I've heard might be coming soon. And then from there, then they'll add a merchant to help everyone get up. But for now, maybe it's just straight up grinding dungeons, trying to get loot, doing raids, doing trials, doing the high tier stuff to get to that point. So I'm not too sure. But I'm excited to get... I've done some fucking difficult-ass dungeons, like just mechanically intensive things that have made being a healer quite painful, just because it's just there's a lot to do. There's a lot to pay attention to, a lot to watch, a lot to make sure that you're preparing for. Because for some reason, in these dungeons, there's a lot of bosses that have like tank buster moves, which are basically things that hit hard as a truck, that make it where if your tank isn't properly managing their cooldowns, to take that hit and make that as least as small of a nuisance as possible to the healer, then you'll have your tank getting half health with one attack, and the rest of your team's getting destroyed by AoEs, and you're just not having a good time because you're trying to keep everyone alive. But I've been having a lot of fun. I really like the trials in the game because they're basically be a raid boss if they take everything out of the raid. So you just do the boss fight, and it's a mechanically intensive boss fight. It takes like 15-20 minutes. Everyone knows what they're doing. And if not, you got a couple of wipes, and then you move on from there. But they always have really interesting and cool looking fights, and I just really enjoy the game. It's super fun. I'm still pretty much hopelessly addicted to it at this point. As all these other games come out, we'll see how that changes. Looking forward to Red Dead again on the 26th. The Fallout beta, I did get registered for the beta, so hopefully I'm in the first wave. I think I am. If they sent me a message saying that I'm like registered, that probably means that I am. I don't know how that works. I haven't received any key yet, so I don't fucking know. I don't know if I'm in the first wave of the beta or not. So hopefully I am. If that's the case, it'd be on the 30th. If not, Call of Cthulhu also comes out on the 30th, so I have a few things to mess around with.
Good.
Yeah, it does. So I'm excited. I'm excited, to say the least. Looking forward to just games. And then November, I'm so fucking pumped for Pokemon, seeing more stuff come out about that game. Even with it not being a mainline Pokemon game, I'm still really excited to fucking play that game. It looks cool. It's pretty. It'd be the closest thing we have to a Pokemon game on the Switch that's like a mainline title, at least until the one that comes out next year. We're assuming it comes out next year. I don't know about that, but I don't know, man. It's awesome. It looks gorgeous. It's utilizing the Switch to its potential like Nintendo usually does. I'm just excited to get back into that world, especially with it being, God, what's the region, the initial region? That's Kanto, right? Tyler? Is Kanto the first region? Yeah, being in the Kanto region, the original 150. The fact that you can ride Pokemon, have them follow you around.
That's going to be so good.
It's gonna be so fucking awesome. I'm excited for it. But besides that, yeah, we watched the 2 movies we talked about last week. We're gonna review those.
Oh, I missed those movies. Damn it.
gotta keep up.
I know. I got you.
Yeah. We're gonna announce the next 2 once we review the first 2. But yeah, both good movies. Excited to talk about them. But that's how I've been doing. I'm glad you both are with me here tonight. I'm glad everyone tuning in is hanging out with us. Whatever time you're listening, wherever you are, we do appreciate you guys tuning in every week to just kind of listen to us talk about shit. Yeah, we appreciate it a lot. So, let's do some housekeeping real quick. First things first, as always, we stream on Twitch, boys. If that sounds interesting to you, you want to see some of the hosts maybe hanging out, or me playing a certain game, or anything along those lines, we do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night from 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 or 1 a.m. So in the morning. So we always have fun. We love hearing from you guys, stopping by. We play pretty much everything. I've changed Fridays up where it's no longer Friday is not just for horror. Excuse me. Friday's no longer just for horror games. Now it's more of a community vote. So I'll drop a poll on Twitter and Discord. So if you want to participate in that, that's where you can do that. And horror games are still there as an option. You can vote for as many things as you want, but I'll put a bunch of games up there. Like the who won the vote for this Friday that just passed was Darkest Dungeon and Moonlighter. So he split the stream in half, played both those games, had some fun, hung out. It's definitely awesome. We introduced, there's now a donation tab there too. If you don't want to use the bit system, Carlos from the community, he reminded me about that. I completely forgot about that. So I made it like a business PayPal, set all that shit up. So that's also availability now too. If you want to support what we do here, we'd appreciate that. So like I said before, we have a Discord. You can stop by, hang out with the group. You want to drop a dank meme our way, we'd welcome that. I'm all about the dank memes of any caliber, from offensive to what kind of other dank memes are there? To normie dank memes. I don't know how dank a normie meme is. I'd have to see it. But you could all do that through Discord. Also, if we talk about anything this week that interests you, feel free to leave a comment down below on YouTube, or you could drop by the Discord to let us know what you thought. And we'd love to just strike up a conversation there. Also, while you're there, feel free to subscribe over on YouTube. Check us out. We have some Let's Plays there now. As Fallout 76 comes out, I'll probably be dropping more gameplays over there, like edited content instead of just streams. Probably. We'll see what happens. We'll see what fucking happens. I don't know. And also feel free to subscribe to the podcast on any of the streaming services out there. We have Spotify, Google Play, which I've heard is actually dropping the podcast portion of their app. So I don't know how much longer that'd be supported there. Apple Podcasts. I think we're on iHeartRadio too, and Spotify is pretty big. A lot of people use Spotify for podcasting, so we're there. We also have a Twitter at ThoughtPatrolPD. Check out announcements there. Again, when we do polls, stuff like that. We have a Facebook and a sister Facebook page, The Streaming Geek. All that will be over on Facebook at Thought Patrol Podcast, I'm pretty sure. You can just search us up there as well. And links to all this will be in the description below. Finally, we do iTunes reviews. I think we actually have another iTunes review. How many did we have last time? Was it 5 or 6? I'm not sure, because last time I looked, we had 6.
People care.
And I don't know if it's fucking new or not. Let me look. But I hate iTunes, man. I'm not gonna lie, because they don't make it easy. I mean, it's nice that we're there, and actually a good portion of our listens come from iTunes, which is pretty interesting.
I hate iTunes in like my own special way, because it doesn't allow me to pull up my old like profile where I have like all my music on, where I can just simply sync it to since I started, like, I've had an iPhone for like a year now, but like years ago when I had like my first iTouch, like I had so much music on there, dude, like probably like almost 1,000 songs, and I can't access it now, and I don't understand why. It's like, why won't you help me? Like, this is the one thing I need, because otherwise I'm gonna have to fucking do it the hard way or buy it all or something.
Yeah, I feel you.
iTunes.
Well, we do have 6 reviews, but it's just a 5-star review. It's not actually a written review. So whoever left that, hey, I appreciate you, anonymous. But yeah.
That was me. I made a random account and just saw you guys.
So we're going to move into the meat and potato of this podcast. We got a mailbag, boys, from our boy Sam, dropping us a question.
Sam.
We're going to go ahead and give this some time. So Sam says, "Hey boys and maybe girl, I'm the girl this episode, so treat me like you would any gamer girl. I know you're going to do your review of I Am a Hero, so I want to propose a question. If there were a zombie outbreak, what would be your plan of action? Would you try to stick it out at home, or would you travel to somewhere more secure? Also, out of all the Thought Patrol hosts, who would survive the longest? Love you guys and keep on spooking."
That is a great question.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with you, Tyler, and then I'm going to steal all of your ideas when I answer.
Gotcha.
So we'll go Tyler, then Shawn, and then I'll go last, so I can steal all your guys' ideas. And then who you think out of all of us here at Thought Patrol, so that's like Antony, Caitlyn, Tyler, Shawn.
Oh, Caitlyn's dead, like, out the door. Go. I would actually use her as bait. So
strap her to the front of your car. Use her as a fucking use her as a battering ram.
Caitlyn, oh my god. Okay, so I can go about this 2 different ways. I could either lone wolf it, where I don't have to worry about anyone else, so it's easier in that sense, and I just have to worry about myself and worry about my own resources for food, water, shelter, and obviously, weapons, I guess, or whatever. But I mean, obviously, I'd have to be the nice guy, because I wouldn't just like leave my fiance or whatever. So I guess I'd have to take her along.
I guess.
I would make sure she gets her shit straight. Like, it's do or die. Like, I'm gonna be like, listen, babe, I played fucking Call of Duty Zombies for years. So I mean, just follow my lead, and we'll make it through to round 20 at least.
Yeah.
So we'll make it a ways, So my plan of action would be to immediately pack. Oh, see, okay. So it just depends how fast this outbreak is spreading. So if we have time, maybe I might stay a bit longer. Or maybe it's like, hurry up and get the fuck out the house. But I mean, I would try to gather whatever food and like water that I can, and I don't have a whole lot of weapons, I guess. So I would probably go to the closest like gun shop and buy like a gun right off the bat. I mean, I have like some like melee weapons. I have like a giant ass machete. I have like a baseball bat. I can probably figure out a few things here. I would also use my my fire gear, my bunker gear as like almost like as like an armor in a sense, because it's very thick. I mean,
anti-bite stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not penetrating that. I mean, you have to have some pretty sharp fucking teeth, I guess. I don't know. But so like I could probably figure something out with that. I'd probably would head up to like probably the most rural area I could find and hunker down there pretty much. Like see if I can find like some abandoned building because there's always a bunch of those laying around conveniently. And just pretty much hunker down. Like set up shop. Fucking start boarding up the windows and shit like that, and set like some sort of perimeter, and just go from there.
Okay, what about this? I'm adding I'm adding an arc into your zombie outbreak story. So you get in, you bunker down, you're in your abandoned building, and you just finally finish nailing off the final board or whatever. You're set up, you have a bunch of food, and you turn around, and your wifey has been bit, and she didn't tell you till now. What do you do?
Fuck. Tell her I'm sorry, I love you. And bang bang.
Bang bang.
I mean, like, there's no way we're gonna find a cure in time. This isn't Hollywood, so it's like I saw I Am Legend. We all know that there now. It's gonna be like that where I'm gonna cry like that. But like, she's gonna know, and like I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, baby, this is gonna hurt. It's either I can make this go real quick and painless, or it's going to be excruciating for you, and you're going to turn it on those things. You tell me what you want, and I will A, shoot you in the head right now, or B, tie you up and leave you to your
one of those fuckers.
I would give her. I probably would give her like a gun though too, and let her see herself out, I guess.
See herself out.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's tough. Like, but what am I supposed to do? Like, she's going to turn. In reality, like, that's it. It sucks, really. But, like, if there's no way to I mean, like...
No, I understand.
That's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. I'm sure there's people out, like, listening right now. They're like, how could you? Well, I was trying to find a cure. Well, good luck, bitch. You probably... I bet, yeah.
Yeah, let's hope she doesn't listen to this episode. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, or hopefully she's like Ellie from The Last of Us, and like it's
she's
zero.
patient zero.
That'd be pretty cool. Huh?
Yeah, man, what a twist! You shoot her in the head and find out she's immune.
Yeah,
oh, dude, I'd cry.
It's not fair. It's like that episode of The Twilight Zone. But it'd be kind of tough. Really, that's not an easy situation to be put in. But I mean, then I just would fucking wait, I guess, and to go from there. But that would be my initial plan of attack, is just to isolate myself, because you don't want to be near other people. I mean, because some people fucking go crazy and shit. I mean, eventually it'll be like you might find some good people you can trust or something like that. I don't know. So my parents are 4 hours away, so it's like I don't know if I would drive down to Miami, like, cause you're just going into denser population, which means more. If anything, they should drive to us if they can make it, or it's like, hey, you lived a long life, so thanks for everything.
Hey, you lived a long life, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe the best man win.
Yeah, no, I feel
so, yeah, all right, I think I'm very straightforward with that, but I mean that's what I would probably do.
Makes sense. Yeah, the biggest enemy. The biggest enemy of any character in a zombie outbreak is the human element, right? So if you take that out, you're good. But if you start to be compassionate and shit like that, or start to doubt things or think about people that are already zombies in some kind of
bitch.
Yeah, no, that's when you done fucked up. That's when you lose the fight. It's all a mental game, dude. And most yeah. I'm just gonna eat chips. Don't mind me. You fucking piece of shit, dude.
No, bro, they're Cheerios, alright? This shit like helps with your cholesterol, so go fuck yourself.
No, dude, I'd rather you have a heart attack than interrupt the pristine audio quality of this podcast, dude.
I'm so sorry. I brought shame upon my family. The ThoughtPatrol family.
Shame upon my family. All right, what about you, Shawn? Oh, wait. Tyler, who do you think would hold out the longest amongst all of us? You can't say yourself.
I know. I would say Antony. Honestly, I feel like already has like game plan. Like he's actually waiting for
he's waiting for it.
He's just sitting there like, come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Man, where's the end of the world? Life's boring.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Antony for sure.
I would say the same thing, to be honest with you. I think Antony. He's already got his house is practically built out of machetes at this point. He's got so
Yeah, and there's
fucking
a
many of them.
nice big ass house. Like you could probably have like a fucking convoy show up there, and they could just like, fucking secure it up, and there you go. It's like a little fortress.
Yeah, you're good to go. All right, Shawn. What about you? What would your plan be for the zombie apocalypse?
Well, I already know how to rough it. I know how to camp. I know how to find supplies. The only thing I don't know how to do terribly well is hunt. But I'm really good at foraging. I have a lot of training from the years I spent in Boy Scouts and the Order of the Arrow, where they drop you off for the weekend and fucking be like, all right, we'll be back on Sunday.
And then they touch you.
And then you've kind of what?
Nothing. Nothing.
Excuse me?
Nothing. No, you're good. You're good. Continue.
Anyway, so I'd probably make a bolt for Walmart like right off the bat and just take a bunch of shit.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
And I'd be more into ammo than grabbing a shitload of weapons. Just one or two dependable weapons, you know, like 2 shotguns, maybe a fucking decent pistol, and I'd be and I guess a hunting rifle would be important. Maybe a bow.
I mean, if you get slugs, you could shoot slugs out of your shotgun, and that operates as a hunting weapon.
Yeah, but as far as I know, shotguns don't have the range that a rifle does.
No, obviously not. I'm just saying. But if you only want,
you ever played Call of Duty before?
if you ever want to, I'm just saying, if you ever want to keep light on weapons, you could always slugs fire pretty far, dude. You could get a slug quite far, and still land a killing blow on a decently sized animal because they're fatter rounds.
Yeah, but I'm not overly quiet person in the woods, so the farther away I am, better. Like I've gone target shooting with 22s, you know, so and I'm decent. I can put the bullet where I want it to go, but I've never fired anything bigger than that, except for I fired a Desert Eagle once and almost popped my arm out of socket, and I was like, nope, not doing that again.
Things kick like a motherfucker. Yeah, if you can kill a deer with a 22, then you deserve to be surviving the apocalypse, because that shit's not the easiest thing. You got to be quite precise with that, especially from distance.
As far as I know, 22s are just for targets and birds.
Yeah.
So, and these were just those little lead pellet tip ones, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, getting the stuff together and getting out there and surviving, I'd be halfway decent at, because the first place I would go would be the woods.
Okay.
Like, after I got everything I needed, I wouldn't try and find some sort of building, because then you've got to get in and out of the building, and buildings are always in areas that are populated. So I would head out where there aren't a lot of people. There's no mountains around here, and trying to make your way to the mountains would involve a vehicle, which I don't have. So I would get together. Like the moment I knew something was wrong, I would start making the phone calls and get people that I knew were dependable. Because I have some friends that are flaky as fuck, and they'll be like, "All right, I'll be there right now." And 3 hours later, they show up.
Yeah, they're like on Cuban time.
Yeah, so I would get people that didn't have a lot of things that were going to drag them down or slow them down, like geriatric parents or shit like that, who had a vehicle. I'd have them run, gas up, meet me. We'd go, we'd raid Walmart, and we'd be done. And within 6 hours, we would be out of town. Chances are I'd probably head for either something like the Everglades or BFE in Lake County, like toward the woods.
Yeah.
And work my way out that way. Maybe to one of those small islands off the coast. I don't know. But that would probably be my best bet. Florida's not the best place to fucking survive the zombie apocalypse. Like, you need a place with, like, mountains and shit. So I'd try and find something that zombies would have a difficult time getting to. And there's a few places in Florida that would work, especially something like swamps, because they'd be slowed down by water.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, you know, the fact that I would be putting a group together, I wouldn't be heading out on my own, and I would be taking care of people, it would be challenging. And the thing about I Am a Hero is they don't make it abundantly clear in the movie, but those aren't, there's a reason why they call them ZQN instead of zombies. And that is because even though they are, to a degree, I mean, the human body is dead, they're a new form of life. They're not reanimated corpses. It's something a little bit different. The manga makes that abundantly clear, but there's a hive mind involved. I mean, they still are able to do independent thought to a degree, but they also share knowledge. They form colonies and shit like that, and they mutate. So, and they don't function like normal zombies. Like, they can run, they can do some sort of thought, they can communicate, they'll talk sometimes. Like, there's a bunch of weird shit going on with this EQN. None of that you see in the movie. So in the movie, it's more like the modern zombie, the runners.
Yeah.
With the aberrations and shit, kind of like taking a cue from SNK. But they have like the increased strength and speed, which is weird because in the movie they showed a little bit of that, but not a lot. Like, you didn't see that except for with a few of them. The rest of them, they were pretty easy to fight off. Whereas in the books, like, one of those things can throw you across the fucking building.
Yeah, I mean, we do see a decent example of that with the athletic one.
Girlfriend. Oh yeah, the athletic one. And
yeah, the athletic one fucks over everything. Yeah, we'll get into talking about that when we get to our review section. All right, who do you think would survive the longest out of all the hosts here, Thought Patrol?
Honestly, I would probably vote for Tyler or Jonathan. Tyler, because he's got his firehouse connections, so he's already got some decent equipment. He's got a lot of medical
I didn't think about that.
And
I didn't even think about.
Yeah, you've got like fire axes, and you've got your gear. You can easily steal another coat and take that shit with you for your fiance.
I think those things are fucking. I mean, Florida, things are hot as shit, dude. I mean, it's good protection, but you will be.
The biggest thing is finding water and food. That's your biggest thing. And he'll be sweating a lot, but on the other hand, like the only problem he's going to have is when he gets overwhelmed. I think on a one-on-one fight, the zombie's always going down, and they're not going to bite through his clothing, so they'd have to go for his face or his hand.
I'm thinking what you can do is maybe also like just remove the sleeves from it and just keep it so you have a way of blocking, so you're still not burning excess calories for no reason, right? And you have a method of blocking a zombie bite where you're not completely decked out looking like a fucking firefighter in smoldering heat kind of thing. You can set up like armor.
You'd want to keep the coat in normal condition because you don't know when you're going to need those sleeves. That's I think it would simply, you wouldn't need all the under stuff. That thick external rubber stuff, I think, would not be sufficient.
But the best part too is having the fire engine also. I mean, you can use that to your advantage. I mean, it's a mobile. You could turn it into like you can live in that, and it's also this huge hulking, piece of machinery.
Yeah, the only problem with that is the fuel. Getting it,
that'll become an issue always at some point. Yeah.
So, like, he's got a lot of equipment on hand that would be useful. And then on top of that, he's got his medical training, and that's going to be key because when the infrastructure fails, you're not going to have hospitals, and tiny, insignificant cuts that we have now can be infectious things. Think back to the Civil War. People died from minor wounds just because we didn't have the medical tech that we do now. So, I mean, all he has to do is grab some of his equipment, and he's already light years ahead of us. And Jonathan, simply because his connection to the military, he knows where weapons are. He's got access to vehicles. He's got access to safety gear, and he has absolutely no problem shooting something that's undead. I have a feeling that, like Kyle and myself, there would be some hesitation at first, simply because that was a person.
If I knew that person, maybe. Yeah, but if it was somebody I didn't know,
run into somebody you knew. That's like the law of zombie movie thing. You're gonna run into somebody you knew. That happens in every single zombie movie. So, and Antony may be preparing for a fictional zombie apocalypse, but Antony's the softest heart out of all of us. And I honestly don't think he would make it that far.
That dude's a fucking psychopath. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but when I talk to him, man, like it's like psychopath or not, I still think unless he teamed up with a capable group, I don't think he'd make it on his own.
All right.
I think he would get overwhelmed. So my vote would probably be Tyler or Jonathan. And since Jonathan hasn't been on the podcast for like a year, I'm gonna go with Tyler.
Fuck John.
Yeah, I will try my best.
Okay. You guys are boring fucking sticks in the mud. First thing I'm doing, I'm getting a group, and we're getting weapons, and we're forming the first Legion zombie extermination group, right? And we're not gonna look for viruses. We're gonna be solving the problem through straight eradication of whatever we see that looks like a zombie, right? Make the streets safe, and then once you clear out an entire town, right? Then you bunker down that town and you turn it into, I mean, obviously you need a big group, but you turn it into like a safe haven, right? You start building up scrap walls, taking like down cars, breaking them down for like scrap metal, since you have this like section of a city, and then you cut it off, right? Right? So
we've seen how well that works in like Walking Dead and like every zombie movie. Those big settlements always fail.
Yeah, and you cut it down, right? And then you have people come in. We gauged, I don't know how the hell we would gauge them if they're infected or not. Check for bites, basically, right? And then what we do is you form a tight-knit group of people that you trust that obviously wouldn't betray you in any way, shape, or form. That wouldn't betray you for a Twinkie or anything like that, right? And then you rule by fear, right? So anytime someone stands up to you, you make an example of them by hanging their beaten corpse from the middle of town, right? And so you let everyone in town know that the main guy is not to be fucked with. Yeah, and then you basically train everyone around you to be like your personal squad that you can send to go, like, if someone's causing an issue or there's a resistance rising up, you squash it by sending your personal death squad to go deal with the leader, right? And then we build a city, and then we chill there, right? And then we send out like squads of people for like recon and for resource gathering and shit like that, right? And then depending on how much someone's able to gather, if you're not part of like the hierarchy of the leaders and the death squad, your worth is how much you're able to gather, right, as a person. So that means obviously old people and children we're going to have to do away with. We'll toss them out, and we'll leave them out in the front, and we'll tie them to the top near the scrap walls. We'll tie them up there so it attracts zombies, right? But we'll leave them alive, and we'll leave them alive tied up to the top the top of the scrap, like the second scrap like floor. And then when the zombies come up, we'll continue the eradication, and then as we attract more zombies with like noise and then like live children and old people,
God, you were fucking just... I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna live, Kyle, but damn,
I don't know how long I'll live. It's called a fucking revolution, my dude. And then they'll revolt, kill me, right? And then someone will take my place, not know how to do anything, and then everything will like destabilize, and then our thing will fail. That's probably how it's going to go. And that could even possibly be an arc of The Walking Dead, but I promise you I've never seen it. So I might have pulled something straight out of one of the comic books or the TV show or something. But that's how I would do it. I'd like to be I don't know. I don't like the idea of going somewhere to kind of just wait and rot away, even if I have a enjoyable life. I don't know. The thought about that. I don't know. Something about that. I don't know. Maybe try and get in contact with it depends on the type of. Also, all that entire plan only works if the zombies are normal zombies. We're assuming the zombies are normal zombies. If I see a single one start jumping 3 stories into the air, I'm getting the fuck out of there.
Fuck.
I'm leaving. If I see things that are like hulking masses of flesh that are charging through buildings and shit, I'm leaving. We're not dealing with any tanks. I don't want to have to deal with any aberrants like from I Am Here. I don't want to deal with any of that shit. The moment I see that, I'm done. My plan is forfeit. It's only if the zombies are slow and stupid. That's the only time I deal with that. So that's my plan. Sacrifice the weak, the strong live, and we form a settlement. That'll be my plan.
Now, so, who do you think lives?
Would survive the longest?
Who wouldn't make
it? Again, it depends on the apocalypse. If the military is still structured and a thing, and they're helping, which usually they are in some degree. I would have to say Jonathan, I guess, because at that point, I think because he'd be relatively safe. To be fair, I mean they have weapons. They have weapons. They have people. They probably would vaccinate the troops to help them continuing if they do discover a vaccine. But also, knowing my luck, to be entirely serious, I could be fucking like the first zombie. I'll be like the first motherfucker to become a zombie. I'm telling you, dude. I'll have like I'll have a rat bite my ankle. Boom! It starts. I'm the first start of the zombie apocalypse. Knowing my luck, I won't even get a chance to set up a plan. I'd just be, I'm a zombie now. Rip. My head's gone. Oh shit. Well, that sucks. So.
Now here's the question: if you did become the first zombie, who would be the first person you would?
Again, knowing my luck, I probably wouldn't even be able to spread the disease. I'd die on the first attempt to try and bite someone. They'd probably get me.
The first and shortest
zombie outbreak. One zombie, and he trips down the stairs, and his head explodes.
But my question is though, like, if you were to make it, who would be your first victim?
Who would be my first victim if I bit someone?
Yeah.
Who would be a bitchin' zombie friend?
Dude, you know you would fucking bite Caitlyn.
That'd probably be Caitlyn, dude. We get lit, dude.
Yeah, bro.
We'd be going in. Me and Caitlyn, starting the apocalypse. And how about this? And if you guys could transform into like a crazy OP zombie, what kind of zombie would you be? I'd like to be a zombie that's like really fast, but they could go invisible and shit. I think that'd be so badass.
Yeah. Or like one that has armor, like the Hulk, like fucking like armored piercing. Or like just like you can't piercing.
Fucking like the tank from Left 4 Dead or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Every time you show up, you get like a soundtrack that comes with you. That'd be pretty cool.
You know I'm coming, bitch.
See cars flying around. All right. That was a fun question. Thank you, Sam. We do appreciate it. If you guys want to send us mailbag questions, you want something answered on the podcast, we'll answer pretty much anything. Whatever you want to send to us, whatever questions you may have for us here. You could do it through a few ways. All these ways will be in the description below, as I said before. Discord, email, Twitter, with the hashtag TPMailbag. And you can send us questions any one of those ways. We'll check it. We'll add it to the show, and we'll answer it on the show. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Ask me how big my penis is, and you will not be disappointed.
I would go out, I would get it hard, and I would measure it for you. If someone asks me seriously. I don't fuck around with these questions. So let us know what you guys want to hear from us, and we'll go from there. So let's move forward. We got a few things to talk about this week. Do we have box office tops? I had a mini aneurysm there, so let's keep going. All right, what do we think number one in box office? Shawn, same answer? Shawn? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Did you forget you were on Push to Talk? That's what it felt like. Okay, yes. All right. Number one is Halloween. $77 million for the weekend with a budget of $10 million. Worldwide, it's made $91 million. So
that movie was only $10 million in the budget, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what the original budget was for the first one.
What do you think of it, Shawn?
I thought Halloween 1 and 2 were excellent. I thought this one was weak, unfocused, and dull. I thought the comedy bits didn't belong, or they were too strong. They had certain plot elements that they would start and then abandon. Literally, I think one of them, they started it and then abandoned it like 2 minutes later. But there were these shining moments in between that were really good. It was just mostly just a disappointment. Like, I knew they could do better. They just didn't. I blame part of that on Blumhouse. I blame part on it.
Is it a Blumhouse film?
Yeah, it's a fucking Blumhouse film.
They suck at horror, dude.
Was involved, they do. Everyone that was involved except for Carpenter, it was Danny McBride, who only does comedy, and then the director was a comedy director, and neither of them. It's not saying that somebody who does comedy can't go dark, because you had that.
The guy from Key and Peele.
Yeah, that one.
Bro, what's his name?
I'm not a huge fan of that movie, but the fact is that he's a comedy guy, and he's wants to do this serious horror thriller.
Get
type
Out
stuff.
was the name of the film.
Yeah. I just found it disappointing. There were some really good parts, and it was nice to see Michael back again. But the retconning of Halloween 2 made absolutely no sense, and that was actually a decent movie. And then, like, just completely rehashing half the kills from other films didn't make any sense to me. It was like the Star Wars thing all over again. Like, I don't understand why you did that. Like, I get little shout-outs, that's fine, but overall, it was just disappointing.
It's kind of like what Rob Zombie did, where it was pretty much
No,
like,
Rob Zombie did
it was like scene for
trailer
scene.
trash violence.
But
This shit was garbage.
I'm talking about when it actually got into the film, though. A lot of it was practically scene for scene from the initial film.
The first one, yeah. The second one was like his own sequel, which was like meh.
I remember hearing he didn't even want to do that shit, and they convinced him to do it. Like he was not privy to making a sequel.
A single good Rob Zombie movie. Like all of his movies are schlock, exploitation, trash, and not the fun kind.
I'm not a fan of the trailer park like garbage dialogue either. It's just uncomfortable.
To each their own. That's fine. I enjoyed it for what it was. Anyways, the budget for the original Halloween, the 1978 film, was it's actually, they're not sure, but it's anywhere from $300 to $325,000.
Yeah. The first one. A lot of the first one was just
kind of worked off of stall logic. Like it was so cheap that it was hard for it to fail.
Well, it's a horror movie too. Like, especially back then, all the horror movies were super cheap because it was just, you know, it's chocolate syrup and cheesy effects. Really,
chocolate syrup was when things were black and white.
That's what I'm just saying. Like, that's what makes like those horror movies, those classic ones, so classic. In their sense, they're so easy to make, and actually, a lot of directors start off making horror films because they're so easy. That's how a lot of people get their gigs. For example, Peter Jackson. Yep. I can't remember the movie that he did, but actually, I haven't even seen it. But I know what he did. Yeah, and then it's good. Yeah, I need to check it out. But I mean, that's just an example. I mean, it's because they're so easy to make. It's a great way to start off and as a director, I guess.
It's also the easiest kind of movie to fuck up and just make a trash movie. But the upside is this Halloween movie didn't feel like Truth or Dare or any of these like disposable trash horror movies that constantly come out that are aimed at 12-year-olds. Like, this movie felt like it wanted to be a Halloween movie.
That reminds me. Did you guys see the trailer for the new
Pet Sematary?
No. But yeah, I did see that too. But no, the Escape Room. They made a trailer for an Escape Room movie, which is pretty much just a rehash of like almost what looks like to be Saw, almost, where there's a group of people, but they're in this sense they're willingly going to this game or whatever. So it's like it's like a turn of the table 180 on, and now they're fighting to survive pretty much, and it's like each little hint or discovery or clue to survive. So in a sense, it's almost like how the Saw movies were, where it was like they were brought into this room and trying to survive.
Interesting. I haven't seen a trailer for that. No, actually.
Yeah, I just saw it too, and I mean, it looked interesting. I was like, wow, but it's probably not gonna be any good though.
It reminds me of like that Hellfest movie where it's like something that exists, but it's like basically turned to a darker thing just for the fucking shit of it. It's kind of like there's like a perversion of like things that exist, kind of like what the Japanese do with anything. They take it and pervert it to like some of their norms, right? So let's take this and slap titties on it, yeah. And this is kind of like, let's take holy shit, I've been writing on a piece of paper and it's leaving imprints in my mouse pad. So I have like a carbon copy of what I've been writing so far. That's pretty cool. I forgot what I was going to say.
Nice.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Just something about titties.
Titties?
Yeah, Japanese titties.
Japanese titties. Okay. Second film.
But the Hellfest concept is old as fuck, man. You take a fun house or a horror house, and then there's a serial killer in it. There's been like 5 movies that I've painfully watched just in the last 5 years that all utilize some similar concept.
Well, Shawn, I do apologize. Enjoyed the film. That's okay.
I love parts of it. I don't care that you enjoyed it. If I fucking gave a shit, I would have jumped in then. And there are a lot of people that are enjoying it. There's a lot of people that liked. I think
Tyler?
diehard Halloween fan
Better
all
stop
came
eating
out
Cheerios.
liking a part of it.
I'm sorry.
You know, but not all of it.
I've been trying to mute my mic when I can.
You fuck.
I
Is
didn't
this
catch
button
myself this
working?
time.
Yeah, it's
Well, I feel
working.
Like, it's working, Shawn. I feel like that. I mean, at least the past Halloween sequels, because let's admit, none of them have been great.
Oh,
So
so bad. No, the second one was really good. The third one on was garbage.
which one are you talking about? Oh yeah, well,
Hospital.
season of was like not even supposed to be. Originally, when Halloween came out, it was supposed to be starting with 3, and they made a mistake at starting at 3 because it should have started at 2. It was supposed to be an anthology series where every year for Halloween was supposed to be like Goosebumps essentially, where it was like a new story but with the same name, Halloween. So that's what Season of the Witch was, and people were already so intertwined with Michael Myers after the first 2 films, and they're like, "Well, what the hell happened? What happened to the Shatner mask guy?" You know. So they got really upset. So it bombed. So that whole plan of having the anthology series just went to dust, and then they brought back Michael Myers. Hence why Halloween is now a slasher series.
Which
so,
one? Which?
If you
4 and
watch
5.
Season of the Witch, it's an interesting premise and it works on a few levels, but it's not great.
Oh,
And
exactly.
They did
But
bring the Cult of Thorn, which was the guys who made the masks.
Yeah.
They did bring them back in I think it was the Paul Rudd movie.
The
or
Curse of
something.
Michael Myers?
Paul Rudd was
It was 5 or 6.
6. I
6.
think.
That's the Curse of Michael
yeah.
Myers,
Yeah,
yeah.
4
Yeah, I
and
think it
5
was
were
that
ones
one.
with the little girl.
Yeah. With The Curse of Michael Myers, they made 2 cuts of the movie, and the producer's cut, which is ridiculously hard to find, is actually a better film, but it's still not good. But they
Yeah,
did bring
because it
both-
kind of actually explains what the Curse of Thorn is, who the Man in Black is, but partially.
Yeah.
But still, the movie just, it's not that
It's so
fucking
good.
A
good.
lot of people, I didn't even care for that story arc too. I like just Michael Myers being, because every horror film, every
They just had to
franchise,
make it
they
supernatural.
They get supernatural, and it's
Yeah.
like I like this. Another reason why I like this new movie too is because they don't have any of that. I mean, there's hints every once in a while, just as like a nod, like Shawn was saying.
Crushed a dude's skull like a balloon.
That was pretty
The
cool
guy's
though.
like 64 or something like that, and like he has supernatural strength. He is way stronger than a normal.
He's
human,
just strong, but they don't
doesn't
say that he
teleport.
is. You know, there's
He
no
doesn't
black.
have any other. Yeah, like I like the fact that they always left it vague. Like we kind of assumed that Michael couldn't die, but I think sometimes you need to explain things, and sometimes you need to follow the Eastern idea of just tell people what they can see. And with Michael, it always worked better when you were just, okay, he's a killer and we can't stop him. So we've got to somehow, figure this shit out. And then you kill him ish, or he gets, caught or whatnot. And then he's back to do it again in another movie. And we were okay with that. The Cult of Thorn thing, I understand why they tried to do it because, give Halloween 3 some sort of relevancy. But it was the movie was trash, and all of the other movies were trash. God, Resurrection, Jesus, Busta Rhymes kickboxing.
Busta Rhymes, Tyra
Yeah.
Banks, or whatever fuck her name is.
Yeah, and she died off screen, if I remember correctly. Did she end up strapped to the ceiling or some shit?
I don't think they even showed. I don't remember.
That movie felt like an obvious kind of fucking like, oh, this is getting kind of big right now, like the whole like webcams and streaming and shit like that. This is kind of like on the mainstream. Yo, we can use this. Like let's make a movie about this kind of shit. And I don't know.
I did like the scene where he met Myers.
Oh yeah,
wearing the mask.
yeah. He's like, bro, what you doing, man? It's fucking so stupid. So stupid. It's like, I'm Michael Myers.
I will say that this movie is the best of the sequels after 2, but to me, 2 felt just like a continuation of the first movie. I don't feel like it made any horrible mistakes. I thought the death scenes were good, and Michael, at the end of the first movie, disappeared, so 2 kind of gives you closure, because Michael dies, Loomis goes down in a blaze of glory, and it closes off the Michael storyline. So if you were going to bring Michael back, it would have been easy to bring it back after that by just saying he escaped and was caught. Like,
Right.
It looked
I think
like
it started off at 4.
yeah.
He was like in a coma for like 10 years or something like that. And he just magically woke up, and they showed that he was like a burn victim. You see his hands all like burned up, and obviously you see Loomis, and he's all burned up too, like his face and stuff. Like they just wing it and say, "Oh, they survived, both of them." You know, that was it. There was no other closure to it, or no other explanation.
Didn't 4 have the weird thing with the scissors and the possession thing or some shit? Wasn't that
What?
4 and didn't
No.
like Michael and the little girl, and then at
There
the
was a
end,
girl,
the girl
but
picked up the scissors.
oh, it wasn't a possession, but it was like because they're related technically. So the girl was Laurie Strode's like
Oh, Bruce having a bad dream.
who was that?
That was Bruce
Oh.
having a nasty dream.
That's all I remember from that fucking movie. Was
And that was at the like film too. Yeah, so it's like because it sets up 5, I guess. But yeah, because they're somewhere intertwined because they're related, I guess. And like she went and touched his hand when he was supposedly dead, so like it made that connection. So I guess you can make it like a discussion if it's possessed, but I don't know. I think it's just like a killer thing because it runs through the family, like one of those like, oh, you just activated in a sense because she touched his hand. It was kind of like
Do you think they were trying to set up like the whole curse idea? Like they were trying to set up that arc with that? Because it like runs through the family, and isn't the way the curse works is Michael has to kill everyone in his family, that's why he's after her?
Yeah, that's the curse.
All right.
He's basically a supernatural assassin. You give him the curse, and you can give them one command.
Dude, I want to be a supernatural assassin.
That's basically what it is. You can give them one command, and they have to follow it, which is why he couldn't die, is because there was always somebody left alive in his family.
Poor Michael.
As soon as he
just wanted to die.
He would die. Yeah. Well, Michael was pretty much dead once at least I don't know. He's a whatever. All those movies were trash. Don't watch any of them again. That's a lie.
All right. Let's keep going.
That was only one. Number 2.
Number 2. Well, you guys probably haven't seen any of these. Number 2, A Star Is Born, which I heard was
great. I heard it was really good.
I heard it was good, but not as good as the original with Barbra Streisand. From what I heard.
My sister and my mom went to go see it, and they said they probably had like their eyes out and stuff.
Yeah. That's all I know. All I know is that compared to the original, it didn't hold a candle to it, but I've heard it was still a good movie. It's up for like a bunch of awards, whatever.
Of course it is.
Sitting at $19 million for the weekend with a total of $201 million worldwide. It has, with a budget of $36 million in its third week. Number 3, we got Venom, pulling $18 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of $461 million worldwide, with $100 million budget in its third week. Oh, excuse me. Number 4, we have Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween, pulling. Why don't you just fart? I heard that.
Yeah, why did that loud? Sorry, guys. My flatulence.
I literally have never heard you laugh like that before. That was fucking hilarious.
What? Laugh like what? Dude, I have all sorts of laughs.
Dude, you were all like,
like an embarrassed schoolgirl, like farting in the middle of class.
That wasn't me.
What was that little me? Did I shove air in
rainbows
my
and
ass?
butterflies.
I just like that I was reading it and all I hear is like a little toot. Oh my gosh. Sorry. It reminded me of something else too that made me laugh. All right, Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween. $10 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of $28 million. Worldwide, it's got $39 million. It's Goosebumps. Does this have Jack Black in it too? Because didn't the first one have Jack Black in it?
Yeah.
No, it didn't have Jack Black.
Oh.
It did, didn't it?
No, the first one did.
At least the majority of the movie didn't. He might have shown up near the end. The majority of the movie is just 3 kids.
Oh. I thought he was in it. Whatever.
And the fucked up part is there's a scene in Goosebumps where they do the exact same scene in Halloween.
Nice.
Like the fucking same scene down to the letter. Like there's a scene at the school, like for the school dance in Halloween, and it's the exact same scene that happens in Goosebumps, which actually made me laugh harder than the jokes did.
Interesting. At number 5, we have First Man, pulling $8 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of $55 million worldwide, with a budget of $59 million in its second week. So that's the movies. Everything else is kind of falling out of popularity. The Nun is like in 16th. Hellfest. How much money did Hellfest make? Hellfest made $12 million on a $5.5 million budget. That's a typical horror movie for you. That's about it, really. Not much else going on. Nothing really super new besides Halloween. That's about it. So that's the box office, what's going on there. Let's go ahead and move over to our review corner, and we'll also talk about the next 2 films we will be watching. I don't have a name for this segment yet, and we're like 21 days into Halloween. We'll just call it Spooktober for now.
Thought Patrol Spooky Fest.
Beautiful.
Friends unite, go.
Awesome.
Welcome to Spooktober with the Thought Patrol podcast. Come in if you dare. You're in for a scare.
There probably would have been a little bit thing that I created before the whole thing even started, but so we got 2 films we watched this week. We told you guys about last week we were going to watch, review. We gave you guys some ways of checking those out so you can just kind of participate in the discussion with us. Let us know what you thought, stuff like that. I know Sam came back saying that he did watch I Am a Hero. He really liked it. He's looking into trying to read the manga for it, or whatever the literature is for it. So we'll go ahead and start with I Am a Hero and then go to the House of Madness. Shawn, you recommended both of these, so we'll have you start on each one. What do you think about I Am a Hero, watching it again?
I loved I Am a Hero. I thought it was really good. I thought it was able to pull off what a lot of the modern zombie films do by throwing drama in, and all of the kind of stuff that you see in modern horror tales, like with the for instance with Walking Dead, where the actual crux of the drama is the interplay between the people and how the humans react. But I Am a Hero throws an additional layer in there by giving you a hero's journey, and it takes an everyman who's kind of a sad sack. He's not really succeeding at life. He's working a thankless job. He's got a very stressful, dysfunctional relationship with his girlfriend. He wants to become something more, but he keeps failing at it, and he just has a really low self-esteem and low self-image. And I mean, that's something that a lot of us have struggled with in various ways. Like, I understand all of that. So you take a guy who is beyond average and you stick him in an above and beyond situation that's just completely something he can't prepare for, and you watch him slowly grow and become something more than he is, and he never realizes that he is that. Like, I think he does feel stronger by the end of the film, but he never fully realizes that he has become a hero, that he's gone on this hero's journey. But you see him get a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger, and the interplay between him and the nurse and Hiromi, and watching like how he reacts to situations. And you also realize that he's got a little bit of a psychosis from the very beginning, because he has these vivid imagination role play sessions, like while he's doing things, and actually reacts to them, these like waking dream sequences. So he's not completely all there. Like, there's a little bit of shatteredness in him, and to see him like grow and become this hero and define himself, it's something, I don't know, it's special. And the effects that they use for the ZQN, which are these mutations, are very, very similar. For the movie's sake, they're basically zombies. They are zombies. In the book, you actually learn that they're a lot more, and they hint at that a little bit in the movie, but you never really see that additional element, because they're a lot more than just animated corpses. So I really liked it. I thought it was refreshing. I thought it brought in the drama elements of things like Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, but it didn't get so fucking heavy that you felt like you were going to fall asleep, or it didn't pose these giant questions. It gave you enough of a glimpse to see, okay, this is how corrupt humanity can get when everything falls and the infrastructure falls and there's low law and order. This is what can happen. Let's give you an idea. Okay, these people turn bad. This person's good. These spies are fucked up. Like, you've seen this before. We're not going to drown you in it. This is just the situation these guys find themselves in. And then you see how those people react and who rises above and then who gives in and becomes an animal and so on, without them spending inordinate amounts of time on it. The majority of the time is spent surviving zombies and watching the relationship between Suzuki and Hiromi and I can't remember the nurse's name, but after that you get to see her join up and kind of become part of the unit. And I liked it. I thought it did something refreshing with zombies, kind of like what 28 Days Later did, where they spun the whole zombie thing on its head by making it a rage virus instead. And with this, they are zombies, but again, the focus, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as much like a zombie film to me, because you're watching somebody you can relate to and understand become something more than he is. And I think everybody wants to do that. Everybody wants to achieve more. They want to believe they could do that when the zombie apocalypse happens. So it's easy to step into his shoes and understand how, because he's terrified. He is absolutely fucking terrified every second of that movie. Like, he is always afraid, and we would be too. But it's how he channels that fear without realizing he's doing it that I think is so special. So it's something that I would suggest to anybody, whether you're a zombie fan or not. If you like a good hero story, this is one of the best.
What would you give it, as we always do, out of 5? What would you get out of 5?
I would give it 4.5 infectious bites out of 5.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like this movie a lot. I did enjoy it while we were watching it. It definitely does have that, as most things do, that Japanese tinge to it. I feel like there's, I don't know when this came out in accordance to the rest of this stuff, but it feels like it has a little bit of like ideas from like stuff like Tokyo Ghoul.
2015.
Has a little bit of ideas of stuff from Parasite the Maxim. The idea, I love the effects in this movie. All the zombies look awesome. The way they move, the way the actors portrayed the zombies, the zombies were incredibly well done. From their makeup to the effects to even in the final scene, the final fight, and just the aftermath of that fight, and the gore and all that stuff. It was all over the top notch. It was really fucking good. And like the final cut of him standing there just over a bunch of dead. It was badass and it looked cool. But bro, this is all spoilers. That's the whole point. We're reviewing the movies. And with that, and even seeing how he meets, was it Hifumi? Was her name Hifumi or Hitomi? Hiromi. Close enough. All the H's, they all sound the same. Asians.
Damn. All right, bro.
Meeting her, and again, him going through just average thoughts. You get a total view of the world from him for the most part. His thoughts on certain things. Him taking those kind of steps to becoming more like a protagonist. Because even though he is the protagonist, more like again, I guess a hero is a better thing, like you're saying. And seeing him grow and take those steps to becoming more of a, again, I don't want to use the word hero, but whatever. That's it. That's what's going on. The name of the damn movie. I am a hero.
The basic point of the thing is that he always dreams of being this heroic, stronger person, and by the end of the movie, he's become that person and hasn't even quite realized it.
Yeah. Again, I think all the effects are really good. I really liked the arcs of the story. I like the way they introduce the zombies. I like the way the virus spreads initially and how people find out about it and how just the shots of him walking down the road and people changing, going after it, it realistically as we could imagine, portrays what would happen in that scenario, how people would respond, what you would see outside. I think it does a good job. It's not like one of those things where this is 3 years after the apocalypse has happened. It's you're watching it take its toll. You're watching society break down. And I think there's a little bit of a comedic element to this movie too. Points here and there, which I think are really cool.
It starts off like a black comedy almost, like,
yeah.
And as it goes along, those jokes come less and less frequently. They still pepper a few in there, but as it transitions more into his story, you see that kind of take a back seat to the drama, which I like.
Yeah. But overall, it's just, even if you're not there to see a hero story, not there to do anything like that, and you're just a fan of zombies, I think it's an incredibly fun watch, seeing how these characters deal with the zombies. The fights are all really good for the most part. Like, there's some really badass stuff that happens in this movie. The characters are quite enjoyable, even the supporting characters. Again, the girl that he meets, some of the other characters later on in the movie, they're all really cool characters. Even some of the like off side characters, I couldn't help but be rooting for. As they, again, everyone's just trying to survive. There's insurrections rise up, stuff like this or like that. And again, overall, it was just a very fun watch. It had, if someone looked for it, it had an arc, it had depth to it. But the surface level, even on its own, was enjoyable as well. And it's just something that I would like to get a group of people down together, sit down, hey, let's watch this zombie movie, and everyone just chills out with the movie going on. So again, definitely enjoyed it a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of zombies, so that says something when it comes to this. The fact that I enjoyed this movie as much as I did, overall was really good. I liked it, and I think I would give it. Let me think. I would give it, because I do think they, obviously because it is a movie, and I think, Shawn, you said they did intend to make more, but they didn't, or something like that, or do they have intent to make more?
I haven't been able to find anything conclusive, but the way the movie plays out is very different from the books. Like, they make it fairly clear early on that the ZQN aren't zombies per se. There's something different. I mean, they share a lot of traits with zombies, but there's definitely something very different. It kind of goes, it veers a little bit into Left 4 Dead territory, where in Left 4 Dead, they're not dead, they're mutations. They actually haven't died. It's kind of like 28 days later, like they're starving to death slowly kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Left 4 Dead, they're actually supposed to still be alive, or Zombieland for that matter. But in I Am Hero, they're like a new form of life. Like, it's something that kills your body, absorbs your mind, and uses your flesh as its own. It kind of like the necrophages a little bit, but instead of turning you into a death weapon like they are in Dead Space, you become of this mutation, a zombie-ish kind of thing, but your eyes are fucked up and you're faster and stronger than a normal human. And eventually they start forming colonies. They form these like building-sized monsters and smaller colonies, and they think and have a hive mind, like hive memories, share knowledge, etc. And they become a new form of life that is on Earth. And you have this battle between the humans that are surviving and the ZQN, which are this other force. But the first several chapters starts off like your standard intelligent zombie takeover kind of thing, a zombie apocalypse, but then it turns into something a lot more, and it adds a lot of depth to it. And then there's drama between Hiromi and Suzuki, and then there's also these cult that pops up, and a bunch of other shit, and that shit pops up fairly early. And with the movie, they focused more on him, less on a lot of those other factors. You really don't see them play in. Now, they could do another movie and bring those other elements in, but I don't think, it doesn't feel like that's what they were intending. I think this is a one-shot deal just to tell that story. they did trim a lot of the more science fiction elements out and keep it more straight, like a horror with a little bit of comedy in it. So I don't think that they're intending on making any further films. I've heard some rumors that say yes, I've heard some that say no, but the way that they started it, I don't know how they would bring those other aspects in. And also, it's a lot easier to write his relationship with Hiromi on paper than it is to present that in the movie, because later on it becomes something a lot deeper, and that's something that is a little less acceptable to put on film than it is on in a comic book.
All right. One issue I have with normal zombie movies is usually a lot of time, again, they focus, usually, like for the things that are more mainstream zombie related, the idea is that the human element becomes the forefront, zombies become more of an obstacle, and this movie didn't really, it had it, but there was no cliche, right? Like a lot of it felt refreshing. Again, all of this is spoilers, obviously, for the movie. You're supposed to watch it so you could kind of have a discussion with us here, and then let us know what you think, like on Discord or anything like that. But from him meeting the girl to finding out that the girl is infected, to finding out that the girl is like a higher form, that she didn't really fully turn, or I guess she did fully turn, but it was like a perfected form. It's not just a mindless zombie. She's strong. She's fast. She's more intelligent than the others. Yeah. And seeing all that it's cool. It's different. It's not something that you would normally see in a zombie movie. Usually the zombies are just there as an obstacle and the humans deal with them as they deal with each other. But with this, again, with these things integrating with the humans and taking over their mind and stuff like that, it was cool. There weren't any things where, although there was one or two moments where like you see your past loved one infected and that like the hesitation, all that it was there for a second, but it wasn't anything that became a big thing. A lot of this movie felt refreshing for a zombie movie. The path that it took, the story that it took, the characters and the way they interact with one another, it felt refreshing. And I don't know if that's a societal thing, because it was a Japanese film and not an American film, and they focused on different aspects of the human interaction with each other and the zombies. I don't know, but it was more of a refreshing take on a zombie apocalypse of zombies in general, and I enjoyed that a lot. So I didn't like that they didn't give a full answer to what the zombies were. It's another issue I have with zombie films, but again, that's something I'd have to pursue in the further knowledge. But still, I'd rather have had something, since they did deviate from the expanded universe, whatever, in the movie anyway. It'd been nice to have some form of answer to what these were, at least a nod or something. So with all that, I'd give it four armor sleeves made out of watches out of 5.
Damn.
4 anti-bite sleeves made out of watches out of 5. That's what it is. I still thought it was fucking funny that I thought I was remembering that from another movie.
Yeah.
It happened. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it was this film.
Okay.
Bruce, don't you dare. You fuck. This dog.
Yeah, one of the cool moments of the movies is the dude fucking coats his arm in Rolexes. Just puts on an assload of Rolexes, so when he gets bit on the arm, they bit down on watches instead.
Yeah, he didn't actually get bit. It was pretty cool. Although that must be incredibly heavy. But yeah, good film. So let's move on. We have also I said In the House of Madness is what I typed in, but that is not right. In the Mouth of Madness, which is a John Carpenter film from 90, what, Shawn?
95, I believe.
95.
It's one of John Carpenter's good ones, because he's kind of a 50-50 guy.
Yeah. John Carpenter, if that name sounds familiar, it was his biggest work would be probably The Thing. Fantastic horror film.
Did, Halloween, the original Halloween. He did Ghosts of Mars. He's done Village of the Damned, and I think a couple of horror vignette ones where it was like independent little short stories together. And he did Prince of Darkness is another one.
Okay. So, again, I'll have you go first, Shawn. What'd you think? I know it's been a while since you've watched this, at least the first time you saw it to when we watched it a day or two ago. Did it hold up? What do you think about it? What would you give it now, today?
Well, when I watched it in high school, this is the first time I watched it with my then best friend DJ, who ended up betraying me and tearing out my heart like best friends do. When I watched it in
Damn
high
it,
school,
I'm going after you, fucker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hunt you down, bro.
No. I mean, I might bear a few hard feelings. I'm not gonna lie, but overall, But with this movie, the one thing John Carpenter excels at, even in his shitty movies, is ambiance. Like, he is able to create this thick air of dread and fear and tension, especially tension. Like, he's exceptionally good at that. And In the Mouth of Madness was one of his winners. So he borrows, or I should say, he homages very heavily the Cthulhu mythos. He homages
Cthulhu
Stephen
miso.
King's mythos.
Like
Cthulhu miso. Well,
Cthulhu miso soup
is aquatic. Stephen King's universe, all of his books tie together, and they tell a much larger story, and that story revolves.
Shawn,
Nope. What happened?
we lost you.
Can you hear? Okay, sorry.
back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so with Stephen King's books all being related, he basically homaged the main villain, Sutter Kane, after Stephen King. It was kind of an homage to him as a horror author. All of the books tie together to create one overarching kind of threat story, which Stephen King's do. And then the monsters, or the bad guys, or the threat, or whatever you want to call it in the movie, are very Cthulhu-esque. They're called the Old Ones, the Old Gods. They're coming back. And in the Cthulhu mythos, the world was the domain of the Old Gods, the Old Ones, and then they were ejected for whatever reason, and they've been trying to get back in, and so on and so forth. So they pulled heavily from that. There's a lot of meta in this movie, or quasi-meta,
Yeah.
And I think they did an exceptional job of telling a good story that was interesting to watch and building up this kind of eerie, creepy vibe. So I thought they did an exceptional job with it. It did not have the depth of substance that I remembered it having, which is okay, because what I did see, I still like very much. I still think it's a good horror movie, and I can probably name good horror movies on two hands. So, I think it's one of those must watches. At some point, you need to see it. Sam Neill does a great job. There's a lot of cameos by like Charlton Heston and Jurgen Prochnow, and it's one of Jurgen's coolest roles because he's played a lot of villains, but never somebody that just fucked up. So I loved it a lot. I think everybody should watch it. And if you're a big fan of King, it's really good.
Tyler.
Stephen King loved it.
Bro, what the fuck? You're so fucking loud, and you're just like.
Really? I'm not even trying. I'm sorry.
Bro, you're just like assaulting our ears, dude. Oh man.
So I would give, and also it's very trippy, which is kind of awesome because the best horror movies are ones where you stick characters in situations where they have no control, and there's really little that they can do except for try and outthink the situation and find a way to survive it. So that is very much the position our protagonists find themselves in. So I think it's excellent. I give it 4 terrifying tentacle fangy creatures out of 5.
Beautiful. I enjoy, for a first time watch, I definitely enjoyed the movie a lot. I thought it was really cool. Again, I kind of fall in line with you where I like the horror that is where it's something that resides outside the realm of understanding for the main character. So it's something that you almost have an unreliable narrator because you don't really know throughout this story what's real, what isn't, when things become real, what's going on with this character, how this character's perception of reality. And they toy with that throughout the film, trying to understand, although there's a few signs where you think, boom, this is exactly when this might have happened with the bridge sequence and stuff like that, but we don't know when he came to be and stuff like that. I thought at the end of the movie, the way they showed, like the last few scenes were cool. Again, very, very meta. I like the idea that the ending, although it was not a good ending in respect to the story itself, like it was not a happy ending. It was an ending that normally I'm not a fan of unhappy endings. But with this ending in the way that the film relates to itself, kind of like from both the stance of it being fiction to the stance of it being not like nonfiction, I think the ending was really cool. It made sense. It was interesting, and to see the main character just lose the last ounce of his sanity from what he saw in the final scene, it's just, it kind of ties everything together. This is exactly this is exactly what's going on right now. Everything's fucked. So I liked the film. I liked for the most part, the effects were good. I thought there was something.
All practical effects, by the way.
Yeah.
Using that digital bullshit.
There were some things here and there that looked a little outdated, which I don't know if I can't really technically fault the movie with it being out in 95. But for the most part, everything was good. I like the sound design was really good. The sound of the monsters had that eerie feel to them. Again, I think one thing with like Lovecraftian type stories, I think is important, like you were saying, is that atmosphere, being able to sell an unknown like all-powerful deity. You can't, the whole point of that is you can't show what it is for the most part. You can't straight up reveal it. So a lot of it you have to do through the world. And I think this movie does a good job of giving you that feeling that something's really fucked up. Something really fucked up's going on here. And they have to sell that to you through the world, through the characters, and again, the main character's perception of the world. But again, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked it a lot for the most part. I'm trying to think of stuff that I might have issues with, and a lot of it I can't really fault for because the movie itself is an older film. So it not holding up today in some ways doesn't really fault against the movie. But I'm trying to think of something I did not like in particular. But I pretty much enjoyed the film a lot. I liked it a lot. It gets into the action pretty quickly. I mean, it takes a little bit to get going. I mean, you have this like uneasy air throughout most of the film, with that kind of builds as time progresses. But I think, what was it, like maybe like 50 minutes in, where we need to be, and the story starts to actually go down the slippery slope that it is. As the characters are slowly uncovering what's actually going on.
Good job throwing you creepy bones on the way in, but I think it's at about a half-hour mark when they finally make it into.
No, it's about an hour that they're in the town. The creepy starts happening on the road there. That's probably about like 35-40 minutes in. Yeah.
The dream sequences were kicking in from jump, like right after the first meeting with Charlton Heston when he was trying to read the books.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit, I will give it, but you never feel like
it's not like particularly dragging along, because the entire time you're trying to understand what's going on in relation to the world being presented to you. So, especially with it starting the way it does, basically at the end of the story, you are right from the get-go, there is something terrible going on. And the whole rest of the film, you're trying to uncover what that terrible thing is. And then, again, if you like things that do go into kind of the meta category, where they're aware of what they are, and they tell stories around that, and having that kind of mind fuck mentality kind of thing going on, you definitely love this movie. There were a few here and there were like jump scares that I didn't necessarily think were necessary, because it kind of betrays the mood set by the rest of the movie, where the whole time, like for atmosphere, if you want atmosphere to be effective, it needs to be constant and heavy, but you can't break it with something like loud and quick kind of thing. If I don't know, I know a lot of the time like you can say that you're trying to build up suspense to make the jump scare effective, but I think the movie would have sufficed just as well without like any of the. There's only like 3 of them. It wasn't like it was wrought with jump scares like today's horror, but like I just didn't feel like they were technically necessary, and I think they kind of took a little bit away from the film. But besides that, the movie was awesome. I liked it a lot. I loved all the performances. And for the most part, the effects held up. It was a creepy fucking movie. Like I had, again, as you should with like something that revolves around like Leviathan creatures and like evil deities from ancient history and stuff like that. You should have like a creepy overarching feeling throughout the entire film. And it did a good job of creating that and maintaining it throughout the film. So I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's definitely up there with some of the movies that kind of go into the pseudo psychological kind of idea where it's not the film itself that scares you, it's the thoughts of what's going on in the film that freaks you out. I always like that more than just like a scary situation in horror, where it's in that moment you're terrified instead of thinking of it afterwards like, holy shit. Imagine being in that situation and stuff like that, and being scared just because your brain goes to absurdities to fill in the gaps that weren't presented to you in the film. So I would give it 4. I'd give it 4. I would give it 4 hentai tentacle monsters out of 5. 4 hentai tentacle monsters out of 5.
Very nice.
Great movies. Let us know what you guys think. If you checked out one, you checked out both, what your opinions were. Again, hit us up, Discord, YouTube comments, anything of that sort. We'd love to hear from you guys. So now we're going to announce the next 2 films. I thought of one that we can do, and I'm sure Shawn has a plethora that he can pull from. And we'll do 1 and 1 this week. And then we're going to do 1 more week of this. So when we come back next week, which will be on the 28th, that'll be the final week. So we would have covered 6 movies over the course of the month, which would fill our quota as if we did one every week. So everything ended up working its way out. And then, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think
we should consider doing like the first week of November, since we got started a week late, because normally we do 8 movies or 8 instances. Like when we did the Christmas thing, we did 2 Christmas specials a week up until December was done. So that's 8. And this time we're only getting 6. So I am suggesting we do an additional week, but it's not a necessity.
We can do an additional week. I don't give a shit. I love Spook. And if we can make Spook travel into November, that's fine with me. So this week I have one that I've heard was okay. It's on Netflix, so it's available to everybody that has Netflix. It is called The Apostle. Again, I'll have... I'll see if I can find a link for it, but I'll put where you can find it and the name of it in the description as I did last week. Shawn, do you have a film that you want everyone to partake in this week for Spooktober?
This week, my selection is going to be Stigmata, which is available on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Also, there's one that we are going to be doing. I do not want the listeners to watch it yet. And it is going to be Fright Night. But we're not doing that this week. We are trying to determine if we are going to watch the original classic Fright Night or the remake. I have heard positive things about the remake. I have not seen it yet. I have heard that it doesn't meet the standards of the original, but it's still decent on its own. So I don't know if you guys want to take a vote on it. I've seen the original. I love the original. The only reason why I haven't watched the remake is every time I want to see Fright Night, I immediately go and watch the one that I know is fucking perfect. Whereas the other one's always a grab bag, so I've just never kind of done it. So I'm leaning more towards suggesting the original, but if our listeners would rather us watch the remake, then we can do that also. I'm game with that. It's got the only doctor that I recognize as a doctor in it. It's got Anton Yelchin in it, which is pretty fucking awesome. And it has the Irish guy that banged a bunch of chicks and was
Lucius. I can't. He was in Phone Booth. Can't fucking remember his name right now, but that guy.
All right.
That guy.
Sounds good.
So this week it's Stigmata and the Apostle.
Stigmata and the Apostle. Let's move.
Stigmata, by the way, is Gabriel Byrne and the younger Arquette sister, the one that was in True Romance. I fucking can't remember her. Patricia Arquette.
I'm sure I watched those.
All I know is that the Apostle is new. I know nothing about it, but it was made by the same dude that did if you know what VHS is, the second VHS film has a short story on it called Safe Haven, which I've heard is really good, like one of the better VHS short stories. And I don't know what else he did. Let me look it up real quick. Boom. They're directed by Gareth Evans, who has also done nothing. I've heard it's okay. He did the Safe Haven segment on VHS 2. He did something called The Raid, Killers. He's an executive producer. I have no clue. But I heard it was okay, so we're going to watch that. It's on Netflix. It's easy to get to. So definitely tune in for those next week. We will review them as we do. Again, spoilers as always. Even though we don't sit there and fully explain the film, we do whatever parts that we like that we thought were interesting we'll go into. So let's move forward. We got what to look for. We got some games coming out this week, guys. We have Just Dance 2019. Everyone get your shaking hips ready. Drop that ass low to the flow and shake that booty. Right? I think so. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, October 23rd. Next, we have My Hero, One's Justice is coming out to PS4 and Switch, October 26th. I didn't know it was coming to Switch. It's interesting. Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to PS4 and Xbox One, October 26th. So, I know everyone's excited for Red Dead Redemption 2, besides Shawn. He doesn't like Wild Westerns, but I think it'd be cool once we get the online component. I have faith in Rockstar to give us a very fun and interesting online component. So, I'm excited for the game, more for the fact of the persistent world and stuff like that. There's a lot of like tiny details in this game that help build the immersion. I'm super excited for that, and I think it's going to be pretty dope. I'm excited to get into it, and we'll probably be talking about that next week, depending on what happens. So nothing has really happened news related, but we do have a few articles I found on Pokemon Let's Go, the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games. So we're going to go ahead and delve into that. We have Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee's big challenge are Master Trainers. You need to beat some tough trainers to be the very best. This is by Kevin Knezovic of GameSpot. Nintendo Switch's first pair of Pokemon RPGs, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, may be geared toward newer and younger players, but that doesn't mean they'll be devoid of challenge, especially once you've become the Pokemon League champion. The Pokemon Company revealed new details about the game's Master Trainers, tough opponents who will only appear around the Kanto region after you've conquered the Elite Four. Each Master Trainer specializes in one particular Pokemon, and the Pokemon Company says there will be one Master Trainer for every monster from the Kanto region. So that'd be 150 Master Trainers. You'll be able to easily tell them apart from other trainers on the overworld by their different clothing, and each will have a speech bubble above their heads indicating which Pokemon they use. Most of the Master Trainers will challenge you to a battle, although some will instead have a request, such as showing them a powerful Pokemon. What makes these trainers particularly challenging is that you'll only be able to compete against them using the Pokemon they specialize in. For instance, you can only battle the Charizard Master Trainer using your own Charizard. Further ramping up the challenge, their Pokemon will also know unexpected moves that give them an advantage over you. In the reveal trailer, you can see Master Trainer's Gyarados using a Thunderbolt, which is fucking cheating. You won't be able to use any items or switch Pokemon during these battles. If you defeat a Master Trainer, you will earn their title, which you can display in-game to other players who when challenging them to link battles. You can get a closer look at Master Trainers in the trailer. Can I help you, Tyler?
Was I making noise again? Bro, I did not make fucking noise.
Sitting there like hot micing like a bitch, dude. Make sure to watch the end of blah blah blah.
No way.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee launch for Nintendo Switch on November 16th. Super excited for these games, and even though they are a step away from the mainline RPGs that we've come to know and love, it's still cool to see something from like our childhood, like the fact that this is in Kanto, original 150. It's the anime.
Pokemon was good.
It's the anime turned into a video game. That's what it is. It's what it feels like. It's interesting also, the changes that they're making towards the game to make it different are interesting. It's weird. I see that they have a multiplayer mode where you could run around with someone else, but they don't have their own set of Pokemon. They just kind of assist you. Like they can help you catch Pokemon. They can help you battle. But I think they might, I wonder if they have, I don't know exactly, so don't take my word for this, but I wonder if they have double battles. And if you have double battles and a second player, the second player can take part in those double battles. I'm not sure. That'd be a cool little thing to do. But I like the idea that they are kind of humoring us with 2-player Pokemon. So wouldn't it be badass if the next Pokemon game comes out and you can play it entirely co-op? That'd be fucking awesome. Now, how would you do that in the lines of Pokemon? You'd have to make a decent amount of changes to make that work effectively. Or the next Pokemon game is entirely online as an MMO. And then I immediately drop to my knees and praise Nintendo for all that they've done and lick their toes. Because that's what I've been waiting for my entire life, is an MMO Pokemon game. But I highly doubt that will be the case. I don't know if they take a chance like that on something that people have been waiting for quite some time. This game looks gorgeous. That's one thing I have to say. It looks fucking amazing. They're using the Nintendo Switch to its full potential. The Pokemon all look awesome, seeing them fully rendered in 3D instead of being sprites or anything like that. And the fact that you can have any Pokemon follow you in the game, you can ride some of them. Like I'm sure a lot of you have seen like the trailer of a trainer literally sitting on an Onix, a 2-story tall rock snake, and just riding that shit around town. Like that's just so fucking cool. It's so awesome. And like those little things have me excited for this game. Even though it takes steps to move away from traditional Pokemon, I still think it's so cool. It's like so fucking cool. I'm so excited to play this. Give me a reason to actually dust off the fucking Switch and use it again. Because I haven't used it in ages. Shit's just sitting on my shelf gathering dust. But I'm looking forward to this game. And the fact that it's like a few weeks away has my my weenie is getting a little excited. My weenie.
No.
He's poking out. He's poking out from his cave. It's like, is it safe to come out yet? There's Pokemon here.
Okay.
Tyler's like, yeah, you
make me a little nervous right now.
Thank God I'm on the other end of a line and not sitting next to you.
I haven't seen daylight in 22 years. Pokemon. Okay, here we got one more. Since nothing's been going on, they're mostly Pokemon related. Pokemon Dev explains why your rivals aren't assholes anymore or jerks. Kevin Knezovic, GameSpot. I thought the thing for this sounded interesting, so we'll talk about it real quick. In traditional Pokemon games, you set off on a journey to become a Pokemon master alongside a rival, with whom you'll frequently battle as you make your way to the Pokemon League. That's certainly still the case in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but unlike your smug foe in the original Yellow version, your rival in the Switch game is much friendlier, offering you advice and even occasionally gifting you items when you run into each other. Who was the foe in the original Pokemon? Was it Gary? Tyler?
You're asking foe as in what? Like his
your rival.
His rival was Gary.
Gary, dude, fucking Gary. What an asshole. I hate Gary.
Right.
Fuck that guy.
Okay.
Offering you advice and even occasionally gifting you items. This isn't new for the series. While your rivals in Pokemon Red and Blue, their follow-ups Gold and Silver were straight up jerks. All of them since then have been much friendlier toward you, particularly Hau and Lily for Pokemon Sun and Moon, who were awesome. I love the characters in Pokemon Sun and Moon. They're all awesome. Even like don't look down on me, but I've been watching the Pokemon anime, right? I'm not caught up, but I'm like a few episodes. I'm like 20 episodes in or whatever. But I love.
It's okay, you can be back curious.
I love all of the characters from Sun and Moon. Like the setting, it being like a tropical island, kind of like Hawaii, and the way the characters interact, the fact that they all go to school there, and all that. It's an awesome idea, and those games are so good. Man, it always worries me. Like, what are they going to do next to like one step up Pokemon Sun and Moon, because those games are really good. Although the end game is a little bit to be desired, but besides that, awesome fucking Pokemon games. Hal and Lily, both of whom would also frequently give you items to help you along. During our recent interview with Pokemon director Junichi Masuda, we asked why it seems like the series has been shying away from the meaner rivals of earlier games. Quote, I think the biggest reason is that rivals were more of a jerk in the early days is that we were just limited to what we could express with pixel graphics, Masuda told GameSpot. There's not much that you can do with that kind of little sprite on the screen, so we worked harder to characterize them through dialogue and give them certain personalities.
The hell? Everything okay there?
Yeah, Bruce is going after that rabbit, dude. He's not dying. For all you tuning into the podcast, my dog is not dying. What the fuck? Bruce, chill. Thank you. He's not chilling. There's not much that you can do with that little kind of sprite on screen, so we worked harder to characterize them. Oh, I already read that. Also, because it's just dialogue and there's not a whole lot going on the screen, it doesn't give as harsh an impression, even if they're jerks, I think. Now we've made HD graphics and visuals are much more impressive. If you made him a jerk, the impression would be a lot stronger on players. Another thing, my own personal take, is that it feels that people with these kind of personalities these days are just not accepted by players as they were back then. Fucking social justice warriors, right, Shawn?
Right, Shawn.
Thanks for the input. Yeah.
Fuck those bitches.
Pokemon Let's Go and Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee will be launching November 16th, as always. Or as we said before. That's that. I thought that was interesting. Get something from that. Obviously, nothing's been going on, too. So, holy shit. I love that. Even in his subconscious, this dog still is like they're podcasting. Time to make a shitload of noise. Time to ruin their recording.
That's a good boy.
Both in wake and in sleep, Bruce is a noisy bastard. I love it. So, the final thing we have, Shawn had sent to me earlier in the week. Guys, VRV is gone. Funimation and Crunchyroll have broken up. What will become of anime?
What the fuck, son?
We're going to talk about it a little bit. Obviously, as I said earlier, nothing's happened this week as we lie in wait for Red Dead. I have an article here, though, to talk about this a bit. Because it is not all doom and gloom, guys. All you weebs out there, weebs rise up. We have an alternative coming as well. So, Funimation exits Crunchyroll and VRV. High Dive to provide streaming dubbed anime. This is Dave Trembore of Collider.com. In the wake of the AT&T buyout of Warner Media and the merged company's new plan to roll out a standalone streaming service in the next year, things are a-changin'. One casualty has been Netflix's deal to stream the complete series of Friends. Another was Warner Bros. Shutting down its Korean drama streaming service Drama Fever and reportedly laying off a significant portion of the provider's staff. Now another shift in the streaming wars has occurred, this time on the animation front. It seems that U.S. anime dubbing provider and distributor Funimation has decided to part ways with Crunchyroll and VRV. The Funimation channel will no longer be offered as a part of the VRV bundle or be available as an a la carte channel on the platform beyond November 9th. Funimation is a subsidiary of Sony, while VRV and Crunchyroll are part of the Warner Media brand. So despite the anime provider's long-standing partnership, the fruitful pairing is coming to a close. But VRV subscribers should not lose heart. Along with the Funimation news came the announcement that High Dive is on board as the newest channel partner on VRV, with content becoming available to the online community within the next few weeks. High Dive is an anime streaming platform offering over 500 titles, including beloved and currently airing series like Made in Abyss, Bloom Into You, and High School of the Dead. High Dive will also offer VRV users a robust library of dubbed anime series, including Food Wars and Elfen Lied.
Hold on, back up. Read that line with High School of Dead again from the beginning.
Including beloved and currently airing titles.
Beloved? High School of the Dead is beloved?
And it's not.
Where the fuck does this guy get his information?
It's most currently not, or it's most. What the fuck am I trying to say? It's not currently airing. That's for damn sure too. So Made in Abyss is over as well, but whatever. Made in Abyss had a decent critical or commercial reception. I don't know. People like Made in Abyss.
They're not continuing it?
No, they are. It's not over right now. or not over yet. I don't know if I've heard anything of a season 2 on its way though. So blah, 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 classic dubs. Here's what the Warner Media subsidiaries had to say about the upcoming changes in a statement. Both Crunchyroll and VRV are devoted to being platforms that are, quote, everything to someone, not everything for not something for everyone. We have a few announcements to share before the end of the year, including some surprises from our Warner Media family that will continue to demonstrate our commitment to super serving our community. I'm a big fan of VRV and have been for a while, since their bundle streaming services offer a lot of genre selections for a steal of a deal. Fans get access to dubbed and subbed animation, Shudder's horror library, and much more. So take a look at everything VRV has to offer. Now, don't get this wrong, VRV is not going away, it's just Funimation's pulling out of VRV. So you don't lose your VRV sub, it's just Funimation is no longer a part of it, so dubbed anime, besides whatever Funimation offered, dubbed anime will be kind of losing a bit of its thing. But who cares? Dub sucks, right, guys? Fuck dubbed anime. And since Funimation likes to use the same 3 people in every anime that they dub, But one thing that's interesting,
going to shift over and have subtitled stuff too. So titles that they had that Crunchyroll was getting the subtitle rights to, and they were getting the dub rights to. So you'd see Funimation properties on Crunchyroll; those are going away. So we're losing a lot of content from Crunchyroll because Funimation is going to have both dubbed and subtitled. And I had access to Funimation briefly, and they do have a lot of subtitled stuff on there already, but now they're going to be offering both, which means there's a lot of content that's going to disappear from Crunchyroll, which I think is why Crunchyroll ramped up their library and added a bunch of older stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be losing a lot.
It's interesting because streaming's a big thing, obviously. Very big thing. Probably close to a $1 billion like industry at this point, if not more, with if you include Netflix and all the others of the like. And anime, we've seen quite a not a resurgence, but quite a shift in mainstream popularity with shows that have been coming out. You see more and more people talking about anime, so it's becoming more of a thing that other companies are looking into. Like, hey, now we've been seeing this for a while. This hasn't started in the last few months. This has been going on for the last couple of years, especially when we had Amazon that took their plunge and when they did their anime strike service, although everyone yelled at them because not only did you have to pay for Amazon Prime, you had to pay an extra like $10 a month, or no, $5 a month on top of Amazon Prime just to have Anime Strike. And after everyone bitched at them for a month on end, they're like, fuck it, we'll just add it into our video library. So now as long as you have Prime, you can watch whatever was being streamed on Anime Strike. So we're kind of seeing it's a thing where obviously we don't want, as much as we'd like to be able to pay one subscription and be able to watch every anime available, we obviously, in the terms of a capitalist market, do not want that, because then if we have one site or one company that has a monopoly on anime streaming, then they have free reign to do whatever the fuck they want with pricing. Although it's a weird environment because a lot of people do not pay for streaming anime. A lot of people watch it illegally. A good amount of people watch it illegally. I pay for Crunchyroll, which is the only thing I pay for. I guess I also pay for Amazon Prime because I like to support the idea of taking Japanese animation and or subbing it and bringing it over to the States. The more money that Crunchyroll gets from its users, the more licensing rights they're able to afford, the more shows they're able to bring over to the West. So that's why I pay for a anime streaming service. If you go on Kiss Anime, 9anime, any of these sites and sit down and watch a show that way, you are supporting those sites, but those sites don't pay licensing fees. They just rip them from wherever the fuck and throw them on their site, and then they charge and they blow it up with ads about sexy Russian singles and games you won't last 5 minutes to, and you're just bombarded by ads, and that all goes to them. They're not paying licensing fees. So I rather support the idea of the process of bringing the anime over to the States, subbing it, doing all that stuff. But we obviously don't want Crunchyroll to have every anime that ever airs to come to the States for obvious reasons. So it's interesting seeing this break. I mean, Funimation and Crunchyroll have been best buds for a really long time, and it's kind of like mommy and daddy is telling them to separate. They can no longer be friends with more Warner Media and the whole like takeover it's been doing and shit like that. But it was just an interesting thing. I don't think VRV is not going anywhere. So if you still are a VRV member, you still have a lot on there to enjoy. And VRV is a good deal. Like there's a lot to VRV that you get, including Crunchyroll, and it's only a few extra bucks a month. It's quite a deal. I just don't really have a want to all the extra shit, so I just pay for Crunchyroll and leave it at that. But I don't know. It's just interesting seeing the waves kind of happen as more companies get into streaming, more companies get into anime-related streaming, and we see more and more competitors pop up to see kind of who remains after the waves wash away. What was I gonna say? Tyler, you don't pay for any streaming services, right? Like
no,
anime related?
Wait, what?
What? Huh? What?
What? No, I don't pay for any services. Everything I get is through like websites and stuff, like free websites that have all that shit on there. And Crunchyroll, I don't have the premium. Free.com.
It's one thing is I don't pay for Funimation. I'm not. I know there's like kind of a small subsect of the anime community that actually fights over what's better, subbed or dubbed, and they're all stupid and they're like all in their little corner yelling at each other for no reason. But I'm just not a fan of dubs in general. I mean, I just don't. I think that as big as anime is, I think they get away, at least now, they get away with a lot of half-assery, I think, with dubs sometimes. Either through, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't feel, that there's definitely outliers. Like My Hero is dubbed incredibly well. It's got a good cast. Everyone is a competent voice actor, but there's a lot of like off the beaten track kind of shows where, again, it sounds bad. And I understand not wanting to read the entire 20 minutes, but I just think that I'd rather sit there and watch something that's coming. It's in its originally intended state, kind of thing. Kind of get what I'm saying? Where that's the voice actors that are playing over there in Japan. This is what they're meant to sound like. This is the envision of the director. Blah blah blah. And then to a point, that's kind of an idea of what they intended for that character. Blah 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 blah, stuff like that. So I rather watch the sub than the dub. But that's about it. Again, more of a laid-back episode. Nothing going on. Shawn, what do you think about this? The ever-going streaming war for weeb content.
I'm not thrilled about it. As much as it helps to have competing services, to be able to watch all the content that you want to watch, it's going to become more and more pricey because you're going to have to subscribe to multiple services.
Yeah, definitely.
The only reason why I didn't pick up Funimation was because I already have 3 services that I'm paying for. I'm paying for Netflix, I'm paying for, Crunchyroll, and I'm paying for Amazon Prime, and that's already too much.
That's a lot, yeah.
And I've got the 4 screens thing with Netflix for my mother and my sister, so that's 15 and then 6 and 6 or some shit like that. So that's 30 something dollars I'm paying already. I really didn't want to go in for something else, but Funimation has a bunch of really good titles that you can't see anywhere else. That's where they also have a selection of Japanese language movies that were based off of manga or anime, and the ones that are based off of manga specifically end up being fairly good. The ones based off anime are usually trash. Like Drop is one of my favorites, and Drop is on there, or was on there. So it's unfortunate that the partnership is ending because you got a lot of content that you're not going to get now, and that sucks. Like, there is such a thing as too many competitors. There are smaller anime streaming sites you can subscribe to that have more niche stuff, but I'm not overly excited about it. But I'm also at the too old for this shit moment. It's like, okay, you're fucking doing it again. Whatever. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I will adapt. I'm not going to fucking go into panic mode over streaming because that's bullshit.
Yeah,
So
no.
they're going to do what they're going to do. Crunchyroll is still the best service, and even with 9 Anime and Kiss Anime and the other ones being free, they only carry maybe 300-400 shows, and out of those shows, a lot of older ones aren't there. And like, for instance, there's this show that's based off of a PlayStation 2 game that didn't even gain a lot of notoriety. There was only 2 installments in the series. Both games were super short. They were overly easy, and they didn't completely tell you the story because of limitations. And that was the Gungrave series. And I owned the first one. I couldn't find the second one. And I really enjoyed it, but what I enjoyed more was these tantalizing tidbits of story that you really don't get into. And when they made the anime, they cut out some of the more fantastic elements of it, and that's kind of pushing it because it goes very, very bizarre in the show. But the anime added this whole layer of depth they just couldn't put into the games and made this kind of Goodfellas kind of mob story that also involved this element of supernatural monsters and whatnot, and it ended up being like a modern classic. Like, a lot of people don't know about it, but everyone I know that's watched Gungrave loves it, and you're not going to find that on Kiss Anime, or 9 Anime, but you do have that on Crunchyroll. So for people who opt to go the kind of piracy route, I don't blame it because the shit's expensive, but you don't get everything. So I'm glad that I still have Crunchyroll. I'm going to keep it. When I get a job where I'm making more money, I'll be happy to subscribe to Funimation for the 5 or 8 titles there that are worth watching that the other services don't have. But until then, I'm not overly crying over them leaving.
No, definitely. And oh man, it's crazy because there's so much that comes out every week or every season, like anime, like compared to like early 2000s. Ooh, I smacked the mic.
Damn, Kyle, making so much noise.
Bro. There's like 5 to 6 to 7 times the amount of shows coming out every season, as we were 10 to 15 years ago. So I'm sure it's quite, I mean, it sounds dumb, but it's like quite the battleground of licensing where everyone's trying like you got to think what will be good, what will people be into, what's going to be getting us actual visits on the site, what kind of shows will have a draw that are new. And I can imagine that being quite the I mean, because you could have something do incredibly well in Japan and not be well received in the States, vice versa. Look at like Cowboy Bebop. Incredibly well in the States, didn't do well in Japan. Any Madhouse production never does well in Japan for some reason, but sometimes they do well in the States. I
love Madhouse.
Yeah, there's a culture shift between the two. So I can just imagine that being a fucking nightmare. Like, what do we want to buy licenses to? What do we think is going to do well this season? So that's about it. That's what's going on, guys. What do you guys think about this shift, this change? Are you interested in High Dive coming to VRV? Are you a VRV subscriber? Does VRV sound interesting to you? What services do you guys pay for? Let us know. So with that, probably be calling it an end here of episode 71 of the Thought Patrol podcast. I do appreciate you two for joining me tonight, hanging out with me. Everyone tuning in on the other side of the internet, we do appreciate you guys for listening every week and just hanging out with us. I'll probably call it. Feel free to watch those movies again. That is The Apostle on Netflix, Stigmata on Amazon Prime. They will be in the description below. We'd love to hear what you guys think as we kind of all come together as a community and enjoy in the spooktivities. Spooky. So, loving Halloween. Can't wait.
Oh hell yeah, bro! I fucking can't wait.
Yeah. Super excited for Thanksgiving and Christmas. This is my favorite like 3 months
The
of the year,
holidays,
dude.
bro. Like,
Exactly.
Come on, everyone's all jolly and happy and shit.
Fuck yeah.
It's colder slightly.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Florida's a weird spot. Sometimes it doesn't get actually cold until like January, February after everyone's taken down their lights and shit.
Yeah, bro. You can wear your flip flops like the entire year.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the state shoe.
The state shoe.
Yeah. Flip flops.
No, the state shoe is the Croc. What are you talking
The
about?
Croc.
Yeah, dude. All right, so let's go ahead and call it. Let's wrap this show up.
They still make Crocs.
Yeah, they do, dude. People still buy them.
I have a pair.
Sorry.
You're right there, Kyle.
I'm sorry.
Just-
Get off my show. All right.
Oh, man.
Let me get some outros from you guys.
Well, ladies and gents, don't forget to mute your mic when you eat your Cheerios during a podcast.
Yes, exactly. Shawn?
Hugs and kisses and all your pink parts.
Hell yeah. And I don't have a fact pulled up. I'm insane.
Fuck.
Holy shit. Wait. Listen, guys.
Just keep saying guys.
Guys, I'm looking. Guys.
Sometimes gals, but mostly guys.
No, mostly guys. Gals is like
Guys.
2% of our listener base. Guys,
Yeah, right.
which is like one person.
Gals.
It's probably Caitlyn.
Guys.
I'm good.
It's like half a person.
You good, my guy?
Not even
Damn.
a full percentage point.
I thought I was good, but I'm not.
Are you serious?
Okay, here we go. Before we wrap up episode 71 of the Thought Patrol podcast, I shall leave you all with a thought. There are about 2 chickens for every human in the world.